The United Nations is warning today of an approaching global water crisis because of pollution, global warming and overconsumption. It's published a new report on the issue before the first dedicated water summit in more than 40 years. Consumption of water keeps rising and the report says about 10% of the world's population live under water stress, where the ratio of water used to water availability is considered high or critical. At the last assessment in 2020, over a quarter of people around the globe still lacked access to safe drinking water, while 3.6 billion lacked access to safely managed sanitation services. The report says the water crisis is worst in low-income countries. For example, an estimated 70% of the population of sub-Saharan Africa lacks safe drinking water services. Aruna Iyengar reports.
Humanity's lifeblood, water, is increasingly at risk around the world due to vampiric overconsumption and overdevelopment. That's the language used in the UN report.
10% of the global population currently lives in areas that are high or critical water stress. In our report, we said that up to 3.5 billion people live under conditions of water stress at least 1 month a year.
The meeting in New York is asking governments and the private sector to come up with a water action agenda to meet a goal set in 2015 to ensure access to water and sanitation for all by 2030. The UN says up to half the world's population doesn't have access to sanitation and a quarter doesn't have access to a safe water supply. It blames unsustainable water use, pollution and unchecked global warming. The UN is now calling for a change in attitude towards water as a shared resource.
The global water cycle is a global common good. We just don't want to understand it because we believe water belongs to us. We need to invest with that in our minds.
The report notes that water scarcity has the greatest impact on poorer people and children. UNICEF had recently warned that 190 million children in 10 African countries don't have access to clean water. The UN says current levels of investment would have to be tripled to get safe drinking water for all by 2030. Aruna Iyengar, BBC News.